Stop scrolling, this is not random. This moment found you because it was sent for you, and you feel it even now. Something in your spirit paused, something in your chest tightened, because this is not coincidence, it's interception. Listen carefully. You do not have all day. You have minutes. 5, to be exact, and what you do with these minutes will decide what you step into next. This is not fear, it's urgency. This is not pressure, it's precision. Heaven does not rush, but it does not repeat endlessly either. When the signal comes this clear, this direct, it means the window is narrowing. You were about to keep scrolling. You were about to ignore the nudge again. But something stopped you. That something is not curiosity, it's calling. If you turn away now, nothing outward may change immediately, but something inward will close. And you already know that feeling. Stay. Focus. Don't dismiss this. Because in the next few moments, you're going to understand why this message reached you now, and why ignoring it is no longer an option. Lean in, because the final warning is closer than you think, and the truth you've avoided is about to confront you. You felt it in the last moment, didn't you? That pause was not random, and it was not emotional coincidence. It was recognition. Because whether you fully accept it yet or not, you are not ordinary. You are being pursued. You are a chosen one, marked not by perfection but by assignment. And the reason your life has felt different, heavier, and sometimes isolating is because your path is not common, it is called. Your silence is not absence, it's resistance. Your delay is not denial, it's divine patience running out. And that tension you've been feeling lately, that inner pull you can't explain, that is not anxiety, it's alignment trying to break through. You have not been overlooked. You have been approached again and again, in quiet nudges, repeated thoughts, unexpected interruptions. Moments where you knew something deeper was happening, but you brushed it aside. That was not imagination, it was communication. That was not coincidence, it was contact. Archangel Michael does not pursue casually. When there is movement at this level, it means something significant is unfolding around you and within you. You were not just scrolling. You were being reached. Not once, but repeatedly. Not vaguely, but intentionally. And here is the truth you've been avoiding, you didn't miss the signs. You recognized them, but you hesitated. Because responding means change. Responding means stepping into something you cannot control. But understand this clearly, this moment is not chasing you by accident, it is confronting you on purpose. And if you feel the weight of that right now, it's because something is about to be revealed that will explain everything you've been sensing. But before that, you need to see how far this has already gone. The signs were not subtle, they were strategic. The patterns were not random, they were repeated until you noticed. And what you are about to uncover next will make it impossible to ignore any longer, because the signal you keep overlooking is closer than you think right now. Stay with me, because this next part will change everything. And this is where it becomes serious. What you're experiencing right now is not just awareness, it's a warning. Not loud, not forced, but unmistakably clear. Because when heaven repeats itself, it is not trying to confuse you, it is trying to reach you before something shifts. This is not punishment, it's redirection before loss. This is not pressure, it's protection before consequence. And if you ignore it again, it won't be because you didn't know, it will be because you chose not to respond. There is a window open right now over your life. A moment where clarity is being offered, where direction is being revealed. But that window does not stay open forever. And deep down, you can feel that something is closing in if you don't move. Here is what you need to understand. There is one signal you have been ignoring. Not 10. Not many. One. A specific, repeated, undeniable signal that carries the answer you've been asking for. And you've seen it before. You've felt it before. But you dismissed it. I'm going to reveal exactly what that signal is. But not yet. Because if you see it too early, you might brush it off again without realizing its weight. Stay with me. Because by the end, you won't just recognize it, you'll understand why it kept returning, and why this time, ignoring it is no longer an option. Now this is where it starts to hit closer, because when you look back, the pattern has always been there. The missed opportunities that felt almost within reach, then suddenly slipped away. The moments when everything seemed to align, only to collapse without explanation. The constant cycle of starting, stopping, doubting, and retreating. You told yourself it was timing. You told yourself it just wasn't meant to be. But deep down, something never sat right. Because it wasn't just one time. It kept happening. You weren't distracted, you were delayed. Your confusion is not weakness, it's interference. And that exhaustion you've been carrying, that mental and emotional weight, it's not because you're incapable, it's because you've been navigating resistance you couldn't fully see. Think about it. How many times did you feel a clear inner nudge, something telling you to move, to speak, to act, and instead you hesitated? Not because you didn't understand, but because something inside you questioned it at the last second. That hesitation wasn't random. That second guessing wasn't natural. And the more important the moment, the stronger the resistance became. The closer you got to clarity, the louder the doubt appeared. The more aligned you felt, the more something pulled you back into confusion. That's not coincidence, that's a pattern. You've been sensing it without having language for it. The feeling that something is trying to guide you forward, while something else keeps pulling you away. Not aggressively, but subtly. Quietly. Consistently. And that's why it's been so hard to trust yourself. Because every time you got close to certainty, something interrupted it. But here's the truth. You were never imagining it. You were never overthinking it. You were responding to something real. The question is not whether something has been influencing your path. The real question is who, and why now. And this is where everything shifts, because what you've been sensing is not just internal, it has a source. There is a moment, and you may not have seen it with your eyes, but your spirit has felt it. A scene unfolding beyond what is visible, where silence is not empty, it is charged. Picture this. A battlefield, not of chaos, but of order. Light cutting through darkness with precision, not noise. And in the center of it, a presence that does not waver. Archangel Michael, not as a symbol, but as authority in motion. Not frantic, not uncertain, but deliberate. This is not imagination, it is revelation. There is a message being carried, not randomly, but directly. Not vaguely, but specifically toward you. And what stands out is not just the power, it is the persistence. Because what you've been experiencing is not a one-time reach, it has been repeated. He is not distant, he is persistent. God is not silent, he is speaking in ways you have not fully recognized yet. Scripture says in Job 33 verse 14 that God speaks once, yes twice, yet man perceives it not. That is not a suggestion, it is a pattern. And you are living inside that pattern right now. The signs, the nudges, the interruptions, they were not scattered. They were sent. They were aligned. They were timed. And every time you paused, every time you felt that pull, it was another attempt to reach you before something shifted permanently. This is not a random spiritual moment. This is an intentional escalation. Because when a message reaches this level of clarity, it means delay has reached its limit. And what is about to be revealed next is not just another sign, it is the structure behind everything you've been experiencing. And now you're ready to see it clearly, because what felt scattered is about to become structured. What seemed random is about to reveal its pattern. Because there are 6 specific signs, not vague feelings, not general ideas, 6 precise signals that God has been using to reach you, and you've encountered more than one already. These are not coincidences, they are coded messages. These are not interruptions, they are invitations. And the reason you couldn't fully understand them before is because you were seeing them separately, not as part of a sequence. This is where everything changes. Each sign builds on the next. Each one increases in clarity, intensity, and urgency. What started as a gentle nudge becomes a clear direction. What felt like a quiet thought becomes a repeated pattern you cannot ignore. And here is why this matters right now. Because these signs are not just informational, they are directional. They are not just meant to make you aware, they are meant to move you. This is not about looking back anymore, this is about recognizing what is happening in real time. As you hear each one, you will not need to guess. You will know. Something inside you will confirm it instantly. And by the time you reach the final sign, the one you've been ignoring the most, it will no longer feel optional. Pay close attention, because the first sign is closer to your life than you think. Now watch closely, because the first sign is the one most people dismiss, yet it is often the clearest. Sign number 1 is recurring thoughts that refuse to leave you alone. Not random thinking, not over-analysis, but a specific idea, direction, or realization that keeps returning no matter how many times you push it away. You try to ignore it. You try to replace it with logic, distraction, or delay. But it kept coming back, at different times, in different moods, even when you weren't looking for it. That is not overthinking, it's repetition with purpose. That is not mental noise, it's spiritual persistence. You thought you were just stuck on it, but the truth is, it was being placed in front of you again and again. Because when God speaks, He does not rely on a single moment. He confirms. He repeats. He reinforces. And here's the contrast you need to understand. That thought is not obsession, it's instruction. The reason it hasn't left you is because it hasn't been completed. Now sign number 2 goes deeper, because it moves from your mind into your environment. Sudden disconnections. People, places, or situations that once felt normal suddenly begin to feel off. Conversations feel forced. Environments feel heavy. You start noticing things you ignored before, and something inside you quietly says, this is no longer for you. But instead of trusting it, you questioned it. You told yourself you were overreacting. You tried to hold on longer than you should have. That shift you felt was not instability, it was separation. That discomfort is not anxiety, it's misalignment being exposed. You weren't losing connection, you were being repositioned. Because not everything that was once right for you is meant to stay with you. And when God begins to move you forward, He will first detach you from what cannot go with you. That's why it felt sudden. That's why it didn't fully make sense. Because it wasn't meant to be analyzed, it was meant to be recognized. Now sign number 3 becomes even more undeniable, because it shows up in moments you didn't expect. Sudden clarity in the middle of confusion. Moments where everything slows down, and for a brief second, you see things exactly as they are. No emotion, no distortion, just truth. It may have happened in silence. It may have happened after a difficult situation. But for that moment, you knew. You saw clearly what needed to change, what needed to end, or what needed your attention. And then what happened? You doubted it. You told yourself it was just a feeling. You questioned whether it was real. And slowly, that clarity faded, not because it was false, but because you didn't act on it. That clarity is not temporary, it's intentional. It doesn't come randomly, it arrives when you're ready to see. You were not imagining it, you were being shown something. And the pattern here is undeniable. The thought returns. The environment shifts. The clarity appears. 3 different forms, but one consistent message. And the deeper truth is this. You recognized all 3. At different times, in different ways, but you felt them. You noticed them. You just didn't fully trust them. But now you can't unsee it. Now you can't call it coincidence. Because the more you look back, the clearer it becomes that these moments were connected. And if these first 3 signs already feel this personal, this accurate, then you need to prepare yourself. Because the next signs go even deeper. They don't just reveal what's happening around you, they expose what's happening within you. And the next one might be the one you've been avoiding the most. Now stay with me, because this is where it becomes undeniable. Sign number 4 is the resistance that shows up the moment you get close to change. Every time you decide to move forward, to act, to finally listen, something pushes back. Distractions increase. Doubt gets louder. Fear suddenly feels logical. That is not coincidence, it's opposition. That is not hesitation, it's interruption. You thought it meant you were not ready, but the truth is, it appeared because you were getting closer than ever before. Resistance does not show up when you are stagnant, it shows up when you are advancing. Now sign number 5 goes even deeper. It's the quiet discomfort that never fully leaves. Not overwhelming, not dramatic, but constant. A subtle knowing that something in your life is out of alignment. You can function, you can continue, but you cannot feel fully settled. You tried to ignore it. You tried to adapt to it. But it stayed. That discomfort is not instability, it's awareness. That unease is not weakness, it's truth pressing against what no longer fits. And now we arrive at sign number 6. The one you've been avoiding the most. The one connected to everything. The signal you've been ignoring is your own inner knowing. That voice that speaks without shouting. That moment when everything becomes clear, and you instantly understand what needs to be done. You heard it. More than once. And every time, you delayed. You questioned. You waited for confirmation that already came. This is not your imagination, it's instruction. This is not confusion, it's clarity you chose to postpone. That is the signal. Not external, not distant, but within you. And now you see it. The thoughts, the shifts, the clarity, the resistance, the discomfort, all leading here. You were not being left without answers. You were being led to one. The question now is simple, but it carries weight. What will you do with it? Now hear this clearly, because the moment you recognize the signal, the resistance will not disappear, it will increase. The distractions will become louder. The doubts will feel more convincing. Even fear may start to sound like logic. Do not misunderstand this moment. The attack is not proof you're failing, it's proof you're advancing. The pressure is not meant to stop you, it is revealing how close you are to movement. Every time you decide to listen, something will try to pull your attention away. Every time you choose clarity, something will try to cloud it. That is not weakness, that is pushback. So what do you do now? You slow down. Not to retreat, but to become still. Because clarity does not grow in noise, it strengthens in stillness. You stop chasing every thought and start paying attention to the one that returns with peace, not panic. You don't wait for perfect certainty, you respond with obedience to what you already know. Because what has been shown to you does not need more confirmation, it needs your response. Trust does not mean you have all the answers, it means you move with what you've been given. And right here is where most people turn back. Not because they can't continue, but because they hesitate at the moment it matters most. Don't miss this. Because what comes next is not just about recognizing the message, it's about sealing your response to it. Now this is your moment, not to hesitate, not to question again, but to respond. Because everything you've heard, everything you've recognized, was not given to inform you, it was given to move you. So right now, don't just listen, align. Say this with intention, even if it's quiet, even if it's just within you. God, I hear you now. I choose to stop ignoring what you've been showing me. I release hesitation, I release doubt, and I receive clarity with courage. Order my steps, strengthen my spirit, and give me the discipline to act on what I already know. Let that settle. Because this is not emotion, it's activation. This is not pressure, it's positioning. And what you do after this moment will either confirm what was revealed, or cancel what was offered. You are not waiting anymore, you are responding. You are not confused anymore, you are becoming clear. If this message reached you at the exact moment you needed it, don't stay silent. Write, "I receive and I respond," in the comments, not for others, but as a declaration for yourself. Let it be a line you cross, a moment you mark. And if you know someone who has been in this same place, someone who keeps feeling something but can't explain it, share this with them. Because this is not content, it's a signal. Stay connected. Stay aware. Because this is not the end, it's your response that decides everything.